Danny and the Human Zoo is a fictionalised version of my life. If this is Earth 1, Danny and the Human Zoo takes place in Earth 2, where Danny Fearon is basically a version of me, and the Fearon family live in a version of Dudley in 1970s Britain. It's a story of a young black guy who grows up in Dudley, who he's funny, and his friends encourage him to go on stage at a talent competition at Dudley Zoo, and he wins that talent competition, and then he goes on to audition for a television program called New Faces, and he wins that. And basically, the structural part of it is very similar to my life, but I've made some omissions, I've changed things. Some characters say more than they did in real life. Some people say less than they did in real life. But I hope that it's entertaining and that it's funny and it gives people a flavour of what my life was like in those days. But a lot of it is definitely not what happened, but some of it is. And only the people who were there will know what's true and what isn't true.
Does race play a part in this story?
I think there's certainly a racial aspect of it. I mean, there aren't many countries in the world where a young black guy would be press ganged into being in a minstrel show. And when I was 16 years old, I unwittingly signed a contract that meant that I was in the Black Art Minstrel Show, not just for a short period of time, which the character in the film is co-opted for, but I was in the minstrels from 1975 to 1979. And it wasn't really till I was brave enough to say, actually, I don't want to be in this show, that I was allowed to not be in it anymore. Danny finds a very unusual way of escaping from his contractual obligations, and when you see the film, you'll find out what those are. But he certainly doesn't take a direct route. He goes around the houses, and also because this is the 70s, you do get a bit of racism that's similar to my life. Really, I didn't really fight every day, but at school, you could have found me most days rolling around in the playground with some guy who'd called me a name. I was called a name pretty much every day for a period of my school life, like a lot of kids are now. So racism played a big part in my life, and it was only until I learnt how to be funny, to deflect it, that actually it stopped. Once I'd learnt to laugh at that stuff and to make a joke about it, suddenly it all stopped. And suddenly people wanted to be in my gang because I was the funny one. They didn't want to be on the side of the guy who was the idiot. So, you know, the racism stopped.
In recent years, you've been very vocal about fair representation of minorities in the media. Will that be reflected in the film?
Well, we have a London Nigerian director, we have an Afro-Caribbean editor, we have a Afro-Caribbean lead actor, and we have a British black screenwriter. So I think that's a very small step in the right direction. I mean, obviously there's still a lot of work to do. This is the beginning of a conversation we're having with the industry, and I hope that people will support us as a piece of work, but also support future work where we're trying to do diverse things with crew as well as cast. It's very hard, and until really the people who choose what programs get made and choose what gets produced and choose what gets greenlit, until those people are diverse too, you're not going to see a change.
The film was shot and will be premiered in the Midlands. How important was that for you?
It was really important that the film be shot in the Midlands and premiered in the Midlands, because I've done things that were set in the Midlands, and somebody would always say, we could shoot this in Amersham, because Amersham looks a bit like the Midlands. But with this film, I knew that unless there were bits of it that were shot in Dudley, I'd be very disappointed. So, you know, there's no replacement for the parks that we've got in Dudley and for Dudley Zoo and for Dudley High Street. You know, there were some areas that were shot in Birmingham, but quite a lot of it was shot in Dudley, and I'm really glad about that. And to have the red carpet in Dudley, to have a premiere in Dudley, you know, it's very, very exciting. And it's made me think, oh, maybe we should make more things. You know, Martin Scorsese's got Little Italy, we've got Quarry Bank. This is what it's all about. Let's make things that represent the Midlands like that. The next film set in Wednesbury, woohoo! Let's go!